Good evening. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and it's currently 7 o'clock on Friday, June 19th. And I want to touch base on today's daily events that affect the way you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Now, the question for today is retire early, dream or plan? And I'll get to that in just a few minutes. Now, what we do every day since March, anyway, is to touch base on the current number of cases of COVID. It's the driving factor for everybody's life since basically January, February, March, somewhere in that range, depending on when you got started with things. So right now, the current cases are 2,215,000 cases, okay, confirmed cases in the U.S. Again, 2,215,000 confirmed cases. That's up about 33.8 thousand cases from yesterday. Okay, the numbers are sort of going in the wrong direction here for new cases. And again, it's got nothing to do with the testing. The testing just confirms what's already out there. So just understand that. Yeah, we're getting more testing, but we're just confirming the cases that are already existing. We didn't know about them before. So again, we're right now at basically 33,000 cases, almost 34,000 cases more than yesterday. And 2 million cases since this whole thing really revved up in the end of February, early March. Now, New York is, well, let's say based on the number of deaths anyway. Number of deaths right now across the United States is just under 119,000. Okay, that's up over 700,000 or 700 cases, 700 deaths since yesterday. 712 people have died since yesterday. The numbers keep going up, and we'll discuss those more in just a little bit. New York is the first highest number of cases, with a state total of right now 386,000 cases. They're up almost 700, not quite 780 cases thereabouts since yesterday. Now the deaths in New York State are right now at 31,000 deaths. That's up 48 from yesterday. The day before it was only 28. So their numbers coming down, but they're not exactly stable from, at least was being reported from Johns Hopkins. That's where I'm pulling these numbers from. New Jersey has the second number of highest cases, 168,000 cases right now. They're up just up under 400 cases from yesterday. It's about 400 cases the day before too, so they're not making any dramatic change. Their deaths right now are 122,000, almost 123,000 people have died in New Jersey since the start of this thing. So they've had another 33 people die from COVID overnight. It was 34 the day before. They're relatively stable at this point in time. Okay, California's got the second, they get number 3 spot. Their numbers are coming up. Illinois' got number 4. Massachusetts is at number 5. Pennsylvania's got the 6th spot. Texas, Florida, Michigan, and followed out by Maryland at number 10. Now, the death rates in New York and New Jersey, yes, they're coming down. And yes, they're lower than they have been in the past. But again, you still have people dying every day from this stuff. And the rates of infections and the deaths are still growing in other parts of the country, specifically the South and the West. Now, that's happening as all 50 states have reopened to some degree. Some actually never closed. And some are going from phase 2 to phase 3, starting to open restaurants in the following week or so. Some have already opened their restaurants up. Now, the chances for a vaccine really readily available for widespread use for this year are basically really slim to none. It's not going to happen, despite what the president's got to say. It's just not going to happen. Now, interesting things happen here. We constantly look at ourselves as the epicenter of the world. It's just human nature. From the dawn of time, originally they thought that the sun moved around the earth. It took a while to get the hang of that. Just because you're here doesn't mean that you're the center of your universe. I mean, it's just human nature, though. Okay, we've been doing it for years and years and years. However, a little introspection tends to be a good thing, and it's important to get a feel for where you fit in relation to the rest of the world. It tends to be inconvenient, But that's the nature of growth. Nobody likes the fact that, the world doesn't really revolve around me. It's okay. Okay. For you to grow as an individual, for you to get some type of self-awareness of where you are, means you need to relate to everyone else to some way, shape, or form. Now, today, I want to take a look at that larger picture and how the U.S. is seen as fitting in to that picture. Now, as coronavirus cases surge in the U.S., in the South and the West, health experts in countries with falling number of cases are watching with a growing sense of alarm and disbelief, wondering what the hell is going on in the U.S. Okay, why do they continue to reopen things? And why are the scientists being ignored? And Dr. Wiles, an infectious disease specialist, said that it really doesn't feel like the U.S. is. It really feels like the U.S. has given up. Okay, he's in Auckland, New Zealand, and their cases are down to like almost nothing right now. Okay, that country has done a phenomenal job. I think they've only had 3 cases over the last 3 weeks. Okay, their citizens have pretty much largely returned to their pre-coronavirus routines. They've done amazing things down there. Now, China's actions over the past week stand in stark contrast, okay, to what the U.S. has been doing. In the wake of a new cluster that they had, over 150 new cases emerged in Beijing. Now, authorities quickly sealed off neighborhoods, launched a mass testing campaign, and imposed travel restrictions. Meanwhile, President Trump here in the U.S. maintains that the states will not shut down a second time, although a resurgence in cases has persuaded some governors in some states, including Arizona, to back off their opposition to mandatory face coverings in public. Now, commentators and experts in Europe, where cases have continued to decline, voiced concerns over the state of the U.S. response. A headline on Germany's website, a public broadcaster website, said that, has the U.S. given up the fight against coronavirus? Switzerland's conservative newspaper concluded the U.S. increasingly accepts rising COVID case numbers. They went on to say the only one thing you can say with certainty, that it's not surprising about this development. This is what a journalist wrote in that paper, referring to the crowded beaches and the pools during Memorial Day weekend back in May. Now, some European health experts fear the U.S., the rising caseload here is rooted primarily in the White House response that has at times really deviated from the conclusions of leading scientists. Now, Dr. Thomas Gerlinger, a professor of health and sciences at the University of Germany, said many scientists appear to have adequate assessment of the situation early on in the United States. But this didn't translate into political action. Okay. For instance, it took a long time for the United States to ramp up any testing capability, whereas the U.S. response to the crisis at times appeared really disconnected from the American scientists' public available findings, researches, and conclusions that were already being used to inform foreign governments. A large portion of Germany's measures that proved effective were based on studies by leading U.S. research institutes, said Karl Lautenbach, a Harvard-educated epidemiologist who was also a member of the German parliament. He advised the German parliament and their government during the pandemic. Despite its far older population, Germany has confirmed fewer than 9,000 coronavirus-linked deaths, compared to over 120 in the U.S. right now. Now, Germany has about 1/4 of the U.S. population, but still, the numbers are really off the wall. It's a really, really wide change from where we are in relation to the rest of the world. Now, Dr. Lautenbach, cited in particular the work of Dr. Mark Lipstick. Okay, he was a professor of epidemiology at Harvard, and his research, along with colleagues, recently said that forms of social distancing may have to remain in place well into 2022. Now, Lauterbach said that Lipstick's work helped him convince the German vice chancellor that the pandemic would be a new normal, and that the time it was enacted, German officials were thinking that, how long is this strategy going to be in place? Because they're thinking it was going to be long term based on the research that was done in the US that we seem to be ignoring for some reason. Now, regarding the effectiveness of face masks, Lautenbach added, we almost entirely relied on US studies. Germany was among the first major European countries to make face masks mandatory in public transportation and supermarkets. Lipstick also said that he presented some of this evidence to the White House, to a research group in the White House at the early stages of the US outbreak. But Trump's administration's response to the pandemic did not really reflect his conclusions. I think they've cherry-picked the models that at each point look to the most rosy, fundamentally not changed and not engaged magnitude of the problem. The White House defended this approach as science-based, but European researchers dispute that the US government's reliance on scientists to inform decision-making come anywhere near to the degree that European policymakers have relied on the researchers. Now, after consulting US research and German studies, German leaders agreed to make reopening dependent on case numbers, meaning that the restrictions snap back or reopenings get pulled back and put on hold if the case numbers in any particular region rise above a certain threshold. Makes perfect sense. Meanwhile, several US states have reopened despite rising case numbers. Now, I don't understand the logic, said Richard Buess, a healthcare management professor at the Technical Institute in Berlin. Lautenbach said, even though most Germans really sort of disapprove of Trump to begin with, even before the pandemic, even his staunchest critics in Germany were surprised by how even respected U.S. institutions, including the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, struggled to respond to this crisis. The CDC, for instance, initially botched the rollout of the test kits in the early stages of the outbreak. Now, like many other aspects of our country, the CDC's ability to function well is being severely handicapped by the interference coming from the White House. And this is what Dr. Lipstick said. All of us in public health are very much hopeful that this is not a permanent condition with the CDC. Now, some observers fear that the damage will be difficult to reverse. I've always thought of the CDC as reliable and a trusted source of information. Dr. Wells, he's the guy in New Zealand, said, but not anymore. Now, it's interesting to note that the U.S. 7-day rolling average of new cases is 24,000, while the same number for the European Union is only 4,000 per day. Even though they were both peaking roughly at 30,000 a day back in early April. Both the U.S. and the European Union had the same 30,000 cases pretty much in early April. And here we are in mid-June, and we're rolling out 24,000 cases a day. The European Union is down to 4,000 cases a day over the last 7 days. Well, that's per 100,000. Okay. But it's a wide disparity. Now, the World Health Organization warned Friday that this is a new and dangerous phase of the pandemic, as it actually accelerates. The world recorded almost 150,000 new cases just on Thursday, the largest rise yet in a single day, according to the World Health Organization. Now, nearly half of those infections were in the Americas, as new cases continue to surge in the United States, Brazil, and across Latin America. More than 8.5 million cases of coronavirus and at least 450,000 deaths have been reported worldwide. Now, as confirmed cases and hospitalizations climb in the U.S., new mask requirements are prompting face-offs between officials who seek to require face coverings and those, particularly conservatives, who really oppose these measures. Now, several studies this month support wearing masks to curb coronavirus. Okay, the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, recommended their use as a protective measure. Case numbers are hitting record highs in Florida on Friday, in Florida and Arizona, as they continue to surge in the West and in the South. Tulsa County in Oklahoma, where the president plans on holding his campaign rally tomorrow, hit a record high today. The CDC said that Thursday that the U.S. death toll from coronavirus could rise to as high as 145,000 people could be dead by July 11, meaning as many as 26,000 more Americans could die in just the next few weeks. Now, Arizona, Texas, and Florida are all reporting record high single-day increases in COVID-19 cases, surpassing previous records just set a few days ago. The three states all reported their highest new case numbers yet on Thursday and Friday, worrying public health officials that the outbreaks are just growing out of control. These are right now on the cusp of getting out of control, according to former FDA Chief Scott Gottlieb. That's what he told CNBC on yesterday. I think these states will have a week or two to take actions to try and get this under control. So he's reported that this is just a short time before this runs out of control for those states. Now, Arizona reported 3,246 new COVID cases just this morning, surpassing the record high of 2,519 cases they've reported on Thursday. Texas reported 3,516 new cases on Thursday evening, actually, an increase from the previous record of 3,129 cases, which was reported Wednesday evening. Okay, Florida, 383,822 new cases reported on Friday, the highest single-day increase for the state, beating the record set on Thursday of 3,207 cases. Now, governors in those states have largely attributed to the increases to increased testing. But the public health experts note that, the percentage of the tests coming back positive is also increasing, a sign of a growing outbreak. Again, you're showing your test numbers are going up, not because you're testing more, but because you're finding out these people were out there that you didn't know about. That's why the numbers are going up. More and more people get infected because you didn't know they existed. Now you're finding out, and the percentage is getting higher every day. Now, we cover the current cases here in the U.S. We talked about the worldview and where we fit in, and how other countries they're shaking their head. They have no idea what the hell is going on here, why their numbers are down so much, and why the U.S., their numbers are up so much. And we also talked about the new hotspots here in several states that, thought they were really unaffected until recently. But what about you? What do you want? That's a real concern. Which brings me to the question for today. Retire early? Dream or plan? Now, the states are going to reopen, even as the cases continue to go up. And the world's trying to figure out what the hell is going on here in the U.S. The chances for another national shutdown are pretty much zero at this point in time. The president just won't have any of it. Now, with the elections coming up, he's just put some serious distance between himself and this entire situation. He's busy searching desperately for another contrived diversion, but the daily case numbers and the daily death numbers, they're a constant anchor to reality. They won't go away. On top of that, the American people are really not mentally ready for another shutdown. It's just not going to happen. They've had enough, and they're moving on, and they've pretty much accepted this is going to be a new normal for a while. The idea of social distancing and the idea of wearing masks. Now, it's really amazing, though, that even at this point, there's still a controversy about wearing masks. It's an amazing thing. It really is. It looks like the entire world understands the importance and the facts that wearing a mask slows down the transmission of the virus. Now, if you've been personally affected by COVID, There's absolutely no question in your mind you understand the need to wear a mask. If, however, you have not been personally affected, you've got tons of reasons, real or imagined, for not wearing a mask, and nothing is about to change your mind up until the point where you're personally affected. And I've reported a couple of those people before. A couple of diehard people. No, it's all a big scam, up until the point where he got sick himself. Amazing things happened then. Then he became a believer. Now, despite your personal beliefs, okay, the states and the local municipalities will still end up making the call based on their local conditions. And the governors are saying one thing, but they're backing down. They're backing down at this point in time because the local conditions are telling you, oh yeah, we have an outbreak. We want everyone wearing masks. And the governors are starting to back down. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And you as an individual will also need to make decisions based on what's going on in your local area, as well as your personal situation regarding your risks for you and your family. Those are decisions that you need to take into account with the COVID situation in your area. You and your family's existing age and health, as well as your financial situation. None of these decisions can really be made in a vacuum. You need to weigh all the factors, and in the end, you do what's right for you. So that's what we all talk about. What's it mean to you? Okay. Nobody really wants to work forever because they need the money. It's a terrible thing. You put in 20, 30, 40 years of your life working, taking care of things. At some point in time, you'd like to be able to slow down. You don't mind doing things, but you don't want to work because you actually need the money. There's a big difference with that. Now, we talked about it before, that the long-term goal for most people that I talk to anyway, that are 50 plus, is to retire while they're still young enough to actually enjoy it. The real question is it a dream? Or do you have an actual plan? Dreams are nice. They're generally pleasant. However, dreams go away when you wake up. Plans, however, plans would get you there when you're actually awake. Now, do you have a plan? Do you really have a plan? If you're 50 plus, you only have a very, very short window of time to make a difference in what you're doing to change the outcome for your retirement situation. You don't have 30 years anymore. You can't save, $1,000 a month. You can't count on the stock market. You should have done that before. It crashes every 7 to 10 years. Now, if you're 50 plus, do you have a concrete plan to get the cash flow that you'll need to have a reasonably comfortable retirement? Remember, if you keep doing what you've been doing all the time, okay, you'll always get what you've already gotten already. If you want something different, need a new plan, doing something totally new, it's really a no-brainer at this point in your life. It really is. Okay, you can get a new plan, okay, that will give you the confidence that you'll have, that you'll know that you don't have to worry about just surviving. You can get a new plan and you can actually retire in style. Okay, now I may be able to help you get that plan. I may be able to help you get control back in your life and get you the cash flow that you'll need to retire in just 3 to 5 years from now. Okay, without ever needing to worry about the stock market crashing again, without ever needing about working again. Now, you can do things, but you won't be doing them because you need the money. So if you have an off day, you don't have to feel bad because you couldn't go to work, because it doesn't affect you financially. I can't help everyone. I really can't. I'm retired right now, and this is my way of giving back. But go to my site, drrousenow.com. There's a 12-minute video there that explains the program. If you're interested, schedule a call. Don't put it on a to-do list. Schedule a call. Okay. Now, I answer the calls. I'll make the calls personally. It won't be a call center from India. It will not be one of my team members. Okay. I do the calls personally because I want to know, okay, who's at the other end of the line? Do you really have a need or not? If you do, can I actually help you or not? And then 3, do I think we can actually work together? So make the call. You can't buy anything on the call. It doesn't cost you anything. You can't buy anything on the call. It says so on the website. As soon as we get on the call, it's almost the first thing I say. You watched everything. You know you can't buy anything on the call. Yeah, thank you. Okay, you can't. I just want to know where you're at. Do you have a need? Can I actually help you or not? And do I think that we can actually work together? Okay, so my only goal is to help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. This is my way of helping the people do that. Now, go to the site, drrousenow.com, schedule a call, and I'll see if I can help. Right now, however, like and share this video. I'll post this tomorrow on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. Like and share it there. Please feel free to make comments there, and I'll try and address as many things as I can. Direct message me on Facebook, and then we'll see if I can answer any additional questions that you might have. But again, I appreciate being here with you tonight, sharing some time with you, and I look forward to spending some more time with you back on Monday. Again, on today's Friday, and I'll be doing this again on Monday. I take off on the weekends. It's a little bit too much for me, but I'll see you again on Monday around 7 o'clock. Thank you.